Welcome back, everybody, to our second semifinal match of the day. Once again, with the PlayVS California Cup in conjunction with the CIF Esports Initiative, presented by Omen, NVIDIA, HyperX, and the United States Marine Corps. I am the Doctor, once again being joined by Beatdown Boulevard, and now we do have our second series of the day loading up shortly.
That we do, and we had a really close series previously with the Blue Barons and the Mountain High School. Ended up going the way of the Bishop Montgomery. And it ended up going the way of Bishop Montgomery after a really, hotly contested first two games. Game 3, not so much. But at the end of the day, Bishop Montgomery sealed their deal and go to the grand finals. And now we're going to see who is going to meet them there as we figure out. You can see the bracket on the screen right now. So the match we're doing is going to be Sunny Hills Lancer Gold versus Mira Mesa High. And that's going to be our second semifinal of the day.
Yep, and so these two teams have made it this far in the bracket. Neither one wanting to go home into that third place match. They definitely want to pull out all the stops now to find themselves in that grand final matchup, facing off against, the Knights, the BMHS Knights from earlier today. And so I'm excited to see what they have up their sleeve. We do continue to see some very oddball picks coming out from the teams here in PlayVS, but they've all worked out quite effectively. So far today, the most unsuccessful pick was, that meta top Wukong. And so everything else has worked out pretty well for the teams that have selected it.
Yeah, which I do find interesting too, because at the end of the day, we actually had an interview there with the jungler of that team, and we talked about how ZX wasn't as comfortable in the top lane, and that's why they ended up switching him out. And in doing so, it ended up working for them a lot better. So I still think that Wukong is a really strong pick because he's an exceptional duelist. It's just, I think there was a confidence thing there.
It does take some time to get rolling on that champion.
Yeah.
And so as we head into our draft phase now for our second semifinals, once again, like you said, it is the Sunny Hills High School Lancer Gold facing off against the Mira Mesa High School. And now we get to see what they decide. What are their picks and bans? What do they decide to actually lock in as a champion? Once again, Vladimir hitting the ban list. Super confident champion, super strong champion right now. Really difficult to really shut down as well.
Yeah, even at this point, Riot has said, we don't really know what to do with him. So if he's really a problem for you, I guess the best way, that's the beauty of the pick and ban system. If it's a champ you don't like facing him, he's too strong, all right, get him out of here. No problem. So we're going to see that one go.
Senna being banned away as well. That one's interesting to me. It's not a champion that we've seen in quite a while. It has been nerfed a lot, but it seems that Mira Mesa High School has the idea that they want to keep these healing supports out of the hands of Javine, banning away the Soraka on top of it.
Yeah, I still think Senna ADC is a really strong pick. You just gotta build your comp around her accordingly. And I guess Mira Mesa don't want to mess with that at all. They're just going to ban it right out. They're also going to ban Graves. And interesting, we're going to see Sunny Hills ban the Xayah and not the Rakan.
All right, so some very interesting pick ban phase so far. We are going to see the Varus selected. Very common pick right now. We've been seeing a ton of lethality Varus, making sure that he is pumping out tons of damage with those cheap damaging items. But once again, we get an Aatrox Ezreal return call.
Yeah, that we do. Funny enough, I'm really interested. I'm still not totally sold on Aatrox as a blind pick in the top lane, so I'm really curious to see how well this is actually going to work out here for Have a Cool Fan. The Ezreal, pretty solid shout, especially into, it's not bad into Varus either, because he's going to end up building armor anyway, and as time goes on, lethality becomes less and less useful here. So if Lancer's Gold were planning to go lethality Varus, it actually will be a little tougher for them to actually get some serious value onto the Mira Mesa's AD carry.
Following it up with that Taric as well, those bonus armor stats, once you link up, makes the lethality, like you said, a little bit less useful.
Yep.
don't think we'll see the lethal tempo on Varus, though. I feel like it's fallen so far out of favor that while still strong, I think most players right now are more comfortable on that lethality build. But I do like the Urgot pick into the top lane Aatrox. I feel like that's a very winnable matchup, no longer having to worry about the Resurrection ultimate. Granted, it's been nerfed that way for a while now.
God, yeah.
But yeah, now definitely you can actually, use the execute there to secure your takedown. And looking at our second ban phase, it looks like Mirror Mesa are continuing to funnel down on the enemy jungle pool, but they're betting a lot that they don't already have their jungler selected.
Yeah, Diana jungle isn't as popular these days, though definitely possible. It makes sense that they want to focus their bans on the jungle, since that's one of the few things Sunny Hills haven't selected until right now, where their last two picks are going to be Kindred and Thresh, which I think is going to be pretty interesting here. You don't see a lot of Kindred in organized play these days, but still a very strong champion. It's just going to be all about whether or not you can get those marks up.
Yeah, super impactful. I do like Mirror Mesa's decision to go for the Kayn. Very popular pick currently, very aggressive pick, lots of early gank potential and dueling potential. Depending on which keystone we see out of him, we may see an even more aggressive style, but this means that he is very willing to fight for those marks, whether it is the Scuttle Crab or if it's in his own jungle. Plus, he's going to have the potential to really clear super quick his own jungle camp. So if it ends up being like a Krugs or a Raptor camp, he can clear it super quick before Kindred can even get in the same quadrant.
Yeah, that's right. It could be a really good way to shut down Cam earlier into the game here. We're going to see how that one plays out too. I got to imagine with so many tanks too, it's pretty much guaranteed the dedication is going to go the roster route, just because it's really nice for you to have that that more like off tank style pick on the board, just because if you look at the rest here, you have Aatrox, who's kind of bruiser, and then you're going to have, beyond that, you just have Taric.
It is going to be up to who decides to gank, though. If he spends a lot of time in that mid lane, that we will for sure at least see the Rost. But if he's trying to gank either of the side lanes there and ends up getting like counter ganked or counter ganks the Kindred, then it would be so much quicker for him to go for that Shadow Assassin Kayn, which wouldn't be so bad. I mean, if you could assassinate the Kindred right off the bat in a team fight, that now invulnerability ultimate's no longer available. You don't have to worry about, her interrupting anything else in regards to the team fight. Meanwhile, you have Taric, who's super tanky, will continue to have his available and be able to keep pumping out, heals and dazzles and stuns and just being overall useful.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see which direction dedication actually goes through, though. It is going to be tough because the Shadow Assassin Kayn's strengths are with blowing up squishy targets. Varus is going to be an easy target. Even Kindred, if you think about it, when the ultimate isn't available. So there's still some potential there if that's specifically going to be your goal. But yeah, you do lose out still on the tankiness, with the only real tank on that side being Taric. It's going to be hard to say where that actually goes. And you mentioned where he wants to gank as well. I do think he probably would like to gank mid lane, just because Diana, you don't want her to get too far ahead in general, because she's a really good engager in these later on team fights. So you want to keep her behind, keep her as weak as possible, while allowing your Lissandra to get ahead.
Yeah, Diana, super strong throughout PlayVS. Very strong champion in general. I remember when the rework came out, a lot of Diana mains were like, yeah, she's really good. She's going to be super duper strong. Like, she's going to be able to take over games almost single-handedly. And their predictions definitely came true. The champion having so many opportunities now, being able to use the Moon Dash in super early on in the game once she hits level 3. And then that ultimate just does so much damage, so much work being done. I am curious to see how the Lissandra plays into it. And so as we head into the game, we're going to have to see how everything plays out, because there are definitely some interesting picks here. And right off the bat, it looks like Sunny Hills are going for the team play.
Yeah, that's right, everybody. In our second semifinals, game 1, Sunny Hills are going for a cheeky invade. A cool man is like, wait a second, what's going on here? And he's going to get hooked. Oh, that's first blood. Oh, they got him. Not even a question.
Everybody went with their hard crowd control level 1 abilities. We got Death Sentence into the flip from Urgot into... There was one more CC there. I'd missed it though, but yeah, definitely all coming together nicely. They don't even need to spend any summoner spells at all. No ignite, no heal, no flash. They just take it.
Yeah, and just as we talk about too, not wanting to get the, not wanting to allow Diana to be ahead. She ends up getting first blood, is going to buy that second Doran's ring right out of the gate. So just because wants to be able to get that extra poke there on the click clock and make it better for those potential trades.
Yeah, a little bit more health, a little bit more damage, a little bit more mana regen. Just pretty much everything you want at level 1. Plus that little experience bonus means she'll hit level 2 quicker.
Yeah, not too much gonna go on right off the bat here. Well, I think in the bot lane too. Wow, already an aggressive hook there from Javine. I think it's just gonna be about who hits level 2 first and potentially going for a play.
Yeah, I definitely think the hook is a good play. Being able to counter with Dazzle early on, though, is a key component of Popeyes to try and dissuade the engagement. If you do get, fresh hooked, you do have a second towards the end once the stun has worn off to pop the Dazzle, and if he decides to use the second portion of the Death Sentence to get in, then it should be an almost guaranteed stun. So we are going to have to see how that plays out. Obviously, if he can get in quick enough and flay, then it's dodged, but the opportunity's there.
And definitely here we're seeing pretty even CS across the board. A little bit of a lead here in the mid lane for Jenny on this Diana. Already has click clock under the tower at this moment.
Oh, man.
And we got a nice hook here into the flay.
2-man Dazzle coming through, though. Flash out of the Varus is not enough. Chronosaurus going to pick up 1. Dedication on the chase. They should have a Dazzle soon. Nope, they decide to back off. They don't know where Kindred is, so they don't want to overstay their welcome.
Definitely a wise call. You already got the kill that you wanted there, so it is definitely a good start. That's a nice little bit of gold there, too, for your Ezreal. Chronosaurus definitely loving that one, and looks like Barrack also have a cool fan. Just kind of stuck under tower, and with that bit of vertical jungling there from Cam, we're probably going to see a potential tower dive here.
That is a scary tower dive, though. Aatrox definitely has some good tools to really become an issue if that were to happen. But yeah, both junglers just clearing out their opponent's opposite quadrant. We do see Kayn now backing for the first time. Each jungler does have an assist too, so they're sped up artificially. Item-wise, we do see the double longsword coming out from Dedication.
He's definitely well on his way to some potential ganks here, especially with Have a Cool Fan so deep under tower. There is an opportunity if it stays that far. Oh no!
Of damage coming out. Fan forced to flash. One more auto attack definitely would have sealed his fate, but able to get away safely.
Yeah, but it looks like here actually that Dedication is making his way up to the top with 2 low health targets like that. Maybe they don't even need
gonna
him.
Connect. Cam forced a flash, but it's not enough. Counter flash coming out from Cam. And the Dark Harvest stack being collected off of Barrack as well. It makes me believe that we are expecting the Shadow Assassin Kayn. Him going the Dark Harvest. It's super synergistic with that. So, I mean, he knows that there's only one melee champion on the enemy team. So the odds of him getting Rost are pretty low.
Yeah, that one is going to be tough. You're probably right there. Usually if you're going Rost, I see a lot of teams take Conqueror. And looks like Dedication is going to get away with that Grump. Matter of fact, he's actually coming back. He wants a little bit of the smoke, it looks like.
He is going to get a red mitten, though. We see Diana coming up. is going to be able to hop the wall there. Will he be able to continue his escape, though? We do get the flash out of Jenny, though, so they are going to secure that. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, action continuing on. And one more for the Gallows. It is going to be Sunchang picking up his first takedown of the game, being able to put himself on the board and continue this CS advantage being gained.
And it's going to get that much tougher for this bot lane here. We got some kills on both sides, but there's a gold lead of just over 1k here for the side of Sunny Hills. And you can see a lot of that's very likely in the mid lane with Jenny, who has a CS lead, who has 2 kills, has the ultimate, and wow, really wants to fight Click Clock here, but isn't actually going to get it done. With that bot priority in mid pressure, they're just going to go ahead and take this first Infernal Drake, which is already a good start for them.
Yeah, lots of damage with 4 members there. They take it down super quick, boost up the damage quite a bit more. And so with that Ocean Drake being the second one, it means we are either going to get a Cloud Drake or an Earth Drake for our soul.
And a Cloud Drake would be probably really interesting just because of the ultimates we see on both sides here. I mean, really, if we're looking Sunny Hills, I think the CDR on ultimate you'd really want on there is probably the Varus and the Kindred. So there's definitely some use there. And oh no, Dedication caught out in his own jungle.
Just exploded with the second half of that ultimate from Jenny. We see the dart come out from Barrick, but it was too late. He'd actually already gone down. But that's pretty massive to be able to invade the enemy jungler and interrupt him there. It does mean that Cam should be able to pick up another stack onto this Rift Scuttler. And it's just good all around there.
Yeah, just all across the board here, looking at good starts so far. Bramble Vest online here for Barrick. A little bit of previous moves that make it tougher for that Aatrox to heal. Yo, they won't let this guy collect his jungle. At this point, you got to start warding it and considering trading on the other side of the map there, because there's just so many people in Dedication's jungle right now, and it is making him tougher for him to farm. You can see he's down almost 20 CS at the moment compared to Cam, who really just hasn't had a lot of trouble farming here so far.
You can also see that he is a little bit behind gold-wise, not just between the 20 CS, but because he doesn't have anywhere else to go. He doesn't have any other lane pressure to help him out. If he were to get collapsed upon in any type of jungle situation, the enemy is going to be able to respond first, just like Barrick is able to get the first hit here. Does interrupt the runaway. Cool Fan going super low. Barrick's going to take him down and puts one in his takedown column, and is going to be able to just push the wave into that tower super hard, but it looks like they are just going to go for the Rift Herald.
And it's a really good patience, some really good patience there from Barrick, who is just watching Have a Cool Fan farm a little bit, watching him blow all his cooldowns before actually showing himself and allowing him and Cam to take that kill there. So that little bit of experience too is going to give level 7 to Cam. Of course, with all those kills, all that CS, Jenny has already built the Rod of Ages too, so Diana is going to be pretty tanky as well. So it's going to be really tough to get on top of you here if it's just going to be Click Clock, who only has 2 amplifying tomes, has the Kindle Gem for some HP. It's tough though, and if you look the bottom lane too, you can see Chronosaurus actually started the tier. So the rough thing about starting tier against Varus or people who do a decent bit of damage early, you don't have as much threat in the lane. You don't have to worry about too much damage coming out of their abilities because it's Tier of the Goddess. It just gives you extra mana.
It does make it tough for your jungler to help you out too. We can see Dedication trying to, be a good jungler and help his team, but the damage that wasn't super high until Javin decided to go a bit deep into the enemy jungle, trying to get some vision control there. But I mean, in a straight up 2v3, there isn't a lot that the Ezreal's going to be able to do there.
No doubt, but this is good. Chronosaurus got another kill under his belt, and it's easier for him to farm this lane for the moment. This is definitely beneficial here. And across the board, if you look, some minor leads in favor of Sunny Hills, and then top lane you have a decent lead here, especially with that kill Barrick's already gained.
Forced to use the ultimate defensively as Click Clock. He is gonna try and get away. Diving under tower though is Jenny. Meanwhile on the top side, Cool Fan forced to flash away defensively. Shadow Assassin Kane is on the map, but he is very squishy, and so he is going to take a ton of damage from Cam, who's going to get one, maybe two. Decides to try and time it out. Oh, but the shield is not enough.
Not good
enough. Man. And now Songchang is going to have the damage here to take out Chronosaurus, but that was a very questionable walk path there going under the tower.
Yeah, I think the placement of the Kindred ult probably not the best. There's probably a world where he lives in that scenario. But at the end of the day, you got the kill onto Dedication. You're definitely fine with that going 1-for-1 there. And bot side, yeah, again, now finally, this Ezreal has the Manamune, is able to put out a little bit of damage here, but it is tough for you to go for trades with Varus, who has the ultimate, especially if he's going lethality. We actually don't see any armor. There's no armor built on Chronosaurus just yet, so he ends up losing a lot of those trades.
Just now completing the Mirror Mana is going to try and start stacking that up as quickly as possible. I do think the Bramble Vest out of Barrick is a little interesting. He is going to be able to get this takedown right here, flashing forward for it, but it really interrupts the Aatrox's game style. You know, he is just this, you know, drain tank style champion who just continuously heals up time and time again, and the Bramble Vest for 1,000 gold just annihilates that.
That's right, really good against those drain tank type enemies. Anybody with any sort of life steal. So it would be a lot tougher too if we saw Dedication go the roster route. So it's another reason why it looks like Shadow Assassin is the way to do it. That Herald going mid 2 is huge. We already have the mid tier 1 down. Sunny Hills have a lot of pressure now, and wait, oh no.
It is a 2v2, does get dragged back in by the Diana, but Cam's gonna take out the
red buff
enemy jungler with the burn, and then Diana has just enough damage to be able to secure it on the Click Clock as well. 4-0-2 now the Diana, and this is kind of what we were concerned about with how strong this champion can be. You know, it really drives the point home once they get really fed.
Yeah, it is tough. Rod of Ages already built up 5 stacks too, so this Diana is getting a nice little bit of HP, a nice little bit of AP too. She definitely hurts, and she's about 20 CS as well as 3 kills up here on Click Clock. It's a tough position to be in right now if you're Miramessa. Excuse me. It's especially now with even it looks like they want to fight for this Kane's blue buff.
Yeah. Also, not having the best times. He was in the bush though, so Cam did not have the opportunity to see. Didn't make it over the wall. Was trying to take out the Taric there. Gonna get pulled back in is Barrick. But things are going very much the Urgot's way.
Without a doubt, too. Black Cleaver already built. Have a cool fan. Hasn't actually built a full item yet. Still sitting on the Caulfield's Warhammer, Kindle Gem, and that Longsword. Gotta imagine Black Cleaver is the way he is gonna go, but against an Urgot too, Bramble Vest honestly isn't a bad idea here. I'm curious to see if he's gonna go that route.
He is just gonna get exploded by Jenny.
Oh, no.
No fear going under the tower, and that is that gonna be enough to take the tower? Does Barrick have enough?
Yeah. It's starting to look like he is gonna get that down. Which is, again, that's 3 actually. Tier 1's down across the board here on the side of Miramessa, and they're struggling a little bit, and they're losing map pressure as a result too. With 2 dragons down for their enemy, down 8k gold, Miramessa have to start playing for these drakes. We have the Mountain Drake coming up in 2 minutes. You really don't want this Diana in particular or that Urgot to get that Mountain Soul, have that much more HP, but it's starting to look like that's really within the realm of possibility here. And it's so tough too for Chronosaurus having to deal with the Umbral Glaive built by the Varus. Oh my god, you're kidding me!
Just
the whole time I'm talking, I think guy's gonna get out.
I thought he was alive. I did not expect that Crescent Strike to just fly over and take him out. But, oh man, Javine is very close with a lot of these hooks.
Yeah, they're scary.
But there is always the opportunity to just dodge them. But I mean, it only takes one hook. If we've learned anything from Thresh and Blitzcrank over the years, is that it only takes one. We are going to get the second Rift Herald charge to secure that tier 2 tower. Are they going to go for 2? That's so bold, I feel.
Oh, it didn't end up getting charged.
Right. Varus is going to get the ultimate on. Chains of Corruption down. Going to lock up everybody. But the health bars are so very low on Mirror Mesa. They are going to go down. Triple coming through for Barrick. The Rift Herald did not get the charge off, but it didn't need to.
This is well played there by Javine too. In that scenario, realizes there's a lot more people than he expected. Decides to hit that Q again. Fly towards the hook target and end up flaying multiple members, just buying that few seconds of time for Barrick to come in here and help clean up between that really strong Urgot and Jenny on this Diana. That was a team wipe waiting to happen here. Speaking of this Diana, Rod of Age is almost at 10 stacks, has the Gnasher's Tooth built up as well. So this Diana is just starting to hurt more and more as time goes on. Click Clock having to build that Zhonya's Hourglass. Gonna start to wonder if maybe he'd like to go for Banshee's Veil or something. You're gonna need some MR across the board here just because of this Diana, and here's another example.
Jenny going godlike off of the support. Right as my screen froze, I did see a flash in from Barrick trying to catch out Dedication, but not gonna come to fruition. But I feel like Barrick, I don't think this top lane matchup is as bad as it looks. I don't think the Aatrox gets exploded as hard as what we've been seeing. I think it is a very skill-focused matchup. And it could have gone the other way very easily, I feel.
Well, for sure, because Barrick has just been having a really good time here on this Urgot, playing this matchup really well. And it's helpful, too, because when Cam has been doing a really good job here of setting up these ganks really well and always resulting them in a kill. You can see that, and that's how a lot of these kills have come from here. I think only 2 of them were solo kills, and the rest were help. Oh, no.
Click Clock's going to go ahead and pop the ultimate. Tries to claw away, but was not quick enough. Flash, death sentence, not going to connect. Jenny doesn't need it to, though. Here's the go call anyway. This should be the first inhibitor of the game going down. All 4 members from Sunny Hills looking to push on through.
And this is so rough here, Doc. 19 minutes and already are Sunny Hills taking out an inhibitor. And now they're just hanging out in the topside jungle, waiting for Have a Cool Fan to push up just a little bit more. Dedication, though.
What is that hook? Javine connecting with everything. It's like I said, it only takes 1, and we've seen 3 now. It's absurd.
Yeah. And this is a rough one. 13k gold lead here for Sunny Hills. 15 kills up at 19-4. We're at the 20-minute mark here. Doc, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if this is going to be winnable here. We're looking at 2 items across the board here for the side of Sunny Hills. On the other side, they're lucky to just get 1 here. I actually think I only see 1 completed item pretty much across the whole board for the side of Mirror Mesa. Except for, I mean, if you count shoes, Popeye does have the Merc Treads built up. You really need some of that magic resist. But I don't even know if that's enough. In the recent fight, we saw him get blown up by Diana.
It is a little tough. They do have a bit of scaling to do, though. They do have the Lysandra, Kane, and Ezreal. So the opportunity is there. If they can survive long enough for Popeye's ultimate to go off as well, then it really becomes crucial in a team fight manner. But it does seem to be now that the call is to set up around the Baron pit for Sunny Hills. If they are able to take this Baron, though, it becomes so incredibly difficult to try and stop the push.
And this is tough. Like, Sunny Hills are just completely in the driver's seat right now. We're finally starting to see some second items come online here. Click Clock on that Lysandra has the Zhonya's Hourglass, a little more AP, that potential stasis just to help you survive a little bit longer. Chronosaurus has the Iceborne Gauntlet. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter for Sunny Hills. They're just going to go for this Baron play. They got supers pushing in the base. They have minions in pretty much every lane pushing up towards their base. They're going to slay the Baron. And with that inhibitor still gone for a little bit longer, they might just push to end game one.
They are going to go back, spend their hard-earned money first. We do see some more completed items, completed Death Stance for the Urgot. We see a Zeal being completed by Kindred. It is looking like a... that doesn't build...
Runon's Hurricane? I'm pretty sure it builds into Runon's.
Yeah, it would be a Runon's for that. I was thinking of the Diana's items with the Needlessly Large Rod and the Stopwatch. I was like, Needlessly Large Rod doesn't build into Zhonya's anymore, but the Stopwatch is just there to for the invulnerability. But the vision control from Sunny Hills has been on point all game. They are constantly clearing these wards. Look at these ward scores. 14, 23, 15, 17, 47. If you contrast that to the enemy team of 7, 48, 9, 17, and 35, you can definitely see who has been winning the Vision War.
I gotta say, though, you gotta give props to dedication for really trying there. 48. Pretty much ties for the most in the lobby right now with Javine, who's on support. But either way, that's gonna be Mountain Soul here for Sunny Hills, and again, they still have the Baron buff. Now 2 inhibitors are down, although the middle one is bound to come up soon. It's going to be really hard to imagine. It's going to be really hard to imagine Mira Mesa can dig themselves out of this hole. The supers are coming through mid and bot. They have waves pushing in every lane, and they're just looking for another team fight that could end the game for them. The only thing standing between them and that is 2 Nexus turrets.
Is this dedication by far
what's happening?
What's happening? Low. He already got ignited. He's able to get over the wall. Tries to run away, but the hook in time. Student Chang gonna pick up another takedown. The team fight has already begun and ended. Pings in the mid lane from Jenny. Gonna try and push on for the victory using those Baron empowered slamming minions. All Jenny needs to do is just hang out, let these minions do their thing while the rest of the team continues pushing into the top side. They take out that tower. Actually, they don't even. They just give up. They decide to push on through. Red turret goes down. 3rd inhibitor not long behind it. The hook goes wide, but they do not even need it at this point. Nexus Tower 1 goes down. Play lands onto the Aatrox. He's taken down. No, he's not. The ultimate finally coming through from the turret. Cannot escape, though. Here comes Fear Beyond Death. No. The Fear coming through in huge efficiency. Everybody's going down. That is a 4 for 1. And Sunny Hills are going to take game 1 here in the best of 3.
And man, what a strong showing here from Sunny Hills, ending it off in less than 25 minutes with almost a 20k gold lead. Past a certain point, it just seemed hopeless here for Mira Mesa.
Yeah, it is one of those situations where when the enemy team gets ahead and they are able to control the vision game, it means that they are going to get to every objective first, every team fight first, every skirmish first, and they end up having the numbers advantage because of it. So even if your champions are technically stronger at a certain stage of the game, because they simply have more members, they just win, because you can't always win an unnumbered fight.
Yeah, and it's hard too, because even though you're right, there are champions on Mira Mesa who will definitely scale well into the later game. I mean, Doc, we got to get there. we have to let these item power spikes build up. The tough thing with Ezreal, this new popular Ezreal build too, you're really not online until he has that Death's Dance, because he has that extra sustain and even more AD built with that combination of the Iceborne Gauntlet, Muramana, and the Death's Dance. So it is really tough if they won't let you get there.
Yep. And so as we head into our second match, we are going to have to see how these teams recuperate and readjust their systems. As you know, it is game 2 of this best of 3. If they are able to clutch it out, then they will be moving on to the grand finals. Otherwise, they find themselves fighting for that third place match. But we are going to toss it to a short break, folks. We will be right back with the potential conclusion of this best of 3 series.
It's gonna rot your brains, it's a waste of time. And then like now I see where esports is at, and my family and I at home, we watch the League of Legends championship. One of the students here at BC, he came to me and said, hey, we're really interested in starting an esports team. Like BC needs an esports team, and can you help us? I was a little bit apprehensive because I did not play video games and I wasn't sure what it would all entail. But then that same student came to my door almost every day the first week of school and said, have you talked to the principal? What's going on with the esports team? It's really because of the students. They were the ones that I felt like, because they're so interested, I think I can do this. My team, they never played League of Legends before, and them going from starting out just at the basic beginnings to now they're in the 30s and seeing how their team work, they're strategizing, and they've basically taken ownership of our team and run with it. It's been fantastic. At our school, leadership is really encouraged and admired among the students. With esports, my students get an opportunity in a different way than what maybe traditionally would be thought of as this is a leadership role you would have. So we have a team captain, we also have a team coach, and they really work really well with the students to kind of bring them together, and they are the ones that outside of school, they're practicing. We get 3 hours of practice a day. They come in at 7 a.m. in the morning, and they're waiting for me. They're like, hey, we're ready to go. Can we come in? Can we practice? Originally, we were practicing 3 days a week, and they were like concerned they weren't getting enough practice. They were like, can we do more? Can we squeeze in another day? So they wanted to do 5 days a week, but I was like, let's start with 3, let's build up to 4, and if we make it to playoffs, then we'll go to 5. They are just so motivated to kind of like take ownership of it. They basically decide beforehand what their bans are, who's doing what position, because I really would not have that kind of knowledge. And even though I don't play as much as they do, you know, you have to admire somebody who's built up their skill set. They've had to put in a lot of time and energy in order to be so good. And then when I play, I go like, wow, this is a lot harder than it looks. It has been wonderful watching how good my students have gotten in such a short amount of time.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
I love it when you couscous. Aphrodite, Hera, Hermes, Icarus. Na 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 na. Never be couscous. I love that.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Play vs. California Cup in conjunction with the CIF Esports Initiative presented by Omen, NVIDIA, HyperX, and the United States Marine Corps. I am the Doctor, being joined by Beatdown Boulevard for this semifinal best of three between Sunny Hills and Mira Mesa. And after game one, I have to expect some changes are going to be coming through for that Mira Mesa squad.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, Doc, and I would hope so too. Because even though the draft isn't exactly where I'd say Mira Mesa went wrong entirely, I still think after losing that handedly in that first game, like I think there was a 20 kill difference. You got to look at the draft and be like, okay, was this the draft? What are we doing this time? What's our strategy this time too? Because of course the draft is still pretty telling in the actual strategy you're going to employ. So yeah, I'm expecting some changes.
At this stage, though, I always recommend to teams to pick Ornn. It's such an easy champion. You can build Bramble Vest on it and just ignore the lane. It's just such a straightforward champion that brings so much power to your team fights. Just being able to drop the horn down and knock up everybody. Plus, he's so difficult to take down in the lane because he can just turn it around at a moment's notice, being able to crowd control you into oblivion. Plus, he's just so darn tanky.
Yeah, Ornn is definitely a solid top lane pick. Actually, more than solid. He's probably one of the strongest top lane picks, especially in organized play, because he could just, I say this all the time, like he could honestly go 0-5 in lane, and realistically, it's not that big of a deal most of the time, because at the end of the day, he's still going to give you so much utility at the end in the later team fights. Like you talked about, the Call of the Forge God, the ability that he can just upgrade items. He can upgrade his teammates' items and make them that much stronger. So this ability to help your teammates scale better than they normally would, no matter how you do in lane, is pretty invaluable.
Plus, he doesn't have any super terrible matchups. The Urgot matchup in particular is kind of rough, but only because he's just constantly pelting you. And so as we head into draft, we're going to see if that could potentially be the matchup. But I mean, like I said, building that Bramble Vest really invalidates a lot of top laners right now. And for Ornn, he can build it in lane. He can just hang out for the first couple minutes, collect 1,000 gold, walk back to the tower, just build it. And all of a sudden he's negated half the lane. Like, he doesn't have to worry about that type of healing potential anymore. But Senna banned away once again by Mira Mesa. So I imagine they're going to stick to a similar game plan with some tweaks here and there.
Sure. I can't imagine the bottom lane is going to be too much different. I can still see them going for the Ezreal and even the Taric. It is a good combination there in the bot lane. It's just, I think maybe look elsewhere. Like, top lane is definitely the biggest question mark, I think. Like, I don't really like Aatrox as a blind pick. I've been talking about it since the previous series. So, yeah, Ornn is a good shout. They're set. I still think Wukong is great. There's a lot of different options you can go to that can still offer a lot of value to your team as a whole, too. And options that make you a lot harder to tower dive.
I do like the set ban this game. It is an adaptation now that they're on blue side. They don't want to pick or have it picked against, so they're just going to remove it. Other than that, though, they do stick to their Senna Soraka bans, keeping those healing supports away from Javine. But, I mean, he was just so good on the Thresh. I don't see reason to just not pick it again. But we do see Graves Jungle from Mira Mesa High School, another high-tempo AD-style jungle carry champion.
Yeah, and of course, if it's not banned first wave, Sunny Hills are just going to go for that Varus Thresh bot lane. It did exceedingly well in the previous game, so it works so nice they'll try it twice. And it looks like Mira Mesa, similar mindset, though they're going to stick with the Ezreal as their second pick. So we're just going to see what else they want to follow it up with. Yeah, Yuumi hasn't been banned, but they're going to use this pick for the Lissandra. Click Clock kind of struggled against that Diana, but actually, it looks like it won't even be a problem anymore because Jenny this time around is going to be playing Corki.
All right, so a bit of an adaptation here from Sunny Hills. they decide to go for a different style mid laner. Maybe the Graves is scaring them off of that melee option in the mid lane. Click Clock going for the Lissandra again, though. I definitely think that particular pick slot could have been much better used for the Yuumi. It's so good with the Ezreal. It enables so many other picks. And it seems that Sunny Hills was listening to our pregame because they're going to ban away the Ornn, which does mean that we're probably going to get another bruiser in the top side from Mira Mesa.
Yeah, and it's a good decision there. If they don't pick it first wave, because I do believe Ornn is definitely a first wave draft, you just end up, you could just get to ban it later on. They're also going to ban Maokai, so they're banning a lot of troublesome top lane matchups here. But it looks like even with it looks like Cam is actually going to be playing the Kindred yet again, so we're actually not seeing too many changes, it looks like, here from Sunny Hills.
Yeah, and now that Mira Mesa have to pick their top laner first, it does give Sunny Hills the option to counterpick. The Kennen selection so it could potentially be a mid lane Kennen with a top lane Lissandra. I don't believe that's going to be the option. I think Click Clock is pretty comfortable on the Lissandra, and so we're going to see our second Gnar of the day. Champion seeing a bit of a resurgence here at PlayVS. Doesn't have to deal with any tanks either so far. Just lots of weird bruisery fighty matchups.
Yeah, and I think this draft here is interesting from Mira Mesa. However, it looks like just with what they have available, like they want an engagement heavy composition here. Like, again, you have Graves who just loves to fight. His ability to move around and kite just because of his dash makes him such a threat. You have Alistar, who is a support I really like, and I think is a bit underutilized in organized play. Offers a lot of CC with the knock-up, and it's definitely one of those less forgiving supports because Alistar is tanky. If you are mispositioned, you get knocked up, and if that happens early in lane, you could very well die.
Yeah, it does offer, like you said, a ton of CC, also counter CC. If he is ending up in a situation where he does get hit by the death sentence or the wallop or the Mega Gnar, then he does have the option to bust out and become that much tankier and turn the fight around. So we will have to see how he's able to convert that into opportunities for his team. Ezreal Alistar, though, I feel is a bit of an odd lane. Alistar, very all-in, go forward, aggress, fight champion. Whereas the Ezreal kind of wants to hang out for a minute, wants to get, at the very least, his first item, that Manamune, before he can really do too much. Second item spike, really the best. So I'm curious how they play off each other in lane, because it's going to be very difficult, I feel, for the Alistar to completely make the all-in call, trying to compete against the Varus Thresh poke war.
Yeah, it's going to be about those early trades too. And on top of that, I think the Alistar is still promising because at the end of the day, he's also tanky. And if he's the one who's engaging, it gives a lot of space and time for Chronosaurus to be able to throw out some damage. The thing is, though, it's going to be about itemization early on too. We talked about it in pretty much every game we've done today. When you are playing the Ezreal into an ADC that does some real damage early on, you don't want to start with that tier of the goddess. You want to start with the pickaxe because you want to have some kind of damage threat when you're in lane. They see the pickaxe and they're like, okay, we got to respect him a little bit. He can hurt me a little bit. But if I'm picking, like, especially if I'm doing lethality, Varus, or anyone else who you could consider like a lane bully, if Ezreal goes tier first, I'm like, oh, we're going on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, you do lose out on a couple minutes of stacking when you go for the pickaxe first, but it means you don't have to completely concede the lane. So, I mean, if you start with the tier, like you said, and get all in, you now become that much further away from completing your item, that much further away from being able to, pick up the pickaxe even. Whereas with the pickaxe start, you don't have to concede as much. You don't need to give up as much CS and can potentially, get that tier faster, get that Manamune faster. And then from there, it's Ezreal. He doesn't take long to stack. He has 3 spammable abilities plus an auto attack. So it's really quick for him to be able to stack that up. And so the scaling potentials there. We do have a massive team fight with Coolfan on the Kennen. I have to imagine it's AP Kennen. We haven't seen AD Kennen in like 2.5 years. Obviously, it's still a thing, but I definitely think it's the AP Kennen.
Yeah, it's probably a safe bet, and I'm really interested to see how these trades go on in the top lane, just because Kennen is a bit of a duelist here, and I'm curious to see how Barrack is going to play around his Mega Gnar, especially once we pass level 6 and see how they deal with each other.
Yeah, I do think that Mega Gnar is actually a bit of a disadvantage here against the Kennen because you do set yourself into this ranged versus melee matchup where the potential crowd control from the Kennen can be very impactful. You can get a nice little stun up. They are slowly wandering in, spacesuit Gnar bouncing around. They are going to get spotted out, though, so they are not in fear of getting an early takedown in favor of them.
And I like it this time around. They were ready for this 5-man invade. You could see by the way they were positioned, they weren't positioned too far forward. So, no kills, but some pretty nice deep vision. And we're actually going to see the same here, though, from Popeyes. I like this adaptation. If all 5 members of Sunny Hills are going to be in their bottom jungle, they're going to go topside and ward that blue. And that information is really nice there for Have a Coolfan as well, because it's so common for junglers to go buff Gromp buff or buff Gromp in if you're blue side, and just go top lane for an early gank.
An early gank in that matchup could be very crucial. I feel like Kennen has to get ahead of the Gnar, otherwise it's just going to spiral out of control. The Gnar, a bit trickier to navigate. It's not so much of a press R champion because you do need to manage your rage stacks, but Kennen being able to just show up, pop the Maelstrom, and then just potentially flash aggressively, it's pretty straightforward.
That it is here, and I like seeing pull early on from Jenny for that nice little extra bit of gold once it is completed there. And across the board, not a whole lot going on here. Of course, Varus pushes the Ezreal under tower early on, especially with the threat of the hook. You want to back off and are going to have to concede CS from time to time here.
Very difficult level 1. You don't have your arcane shift yet, so you actually have to manually dodge the death sentence. So it can be, like you said, difficult, and it is a bit scary. Whereas now that he's level 2, he does have access to the arcane shift to be able to instantly dodge out of those hook type abilities. We do see both junglers finishing up their clears. We do see the Alistar going pretty deep into the back of his own jungle. Interesting enough, looking to maybe defend his support or his jungler from an imagined invade.
They did it a lot in the previous game, so it's actually not a bad idea to just have him rotate around just a little bit there, and he manages to clear their ward in the tri-bush as well. But it seems like we have Dedication hitting that level 3. Instead, he wants to deal with this Corki in the mid lane. And I think this seems... Actually, it is noticed because of that ward near Dedication's Raptors. So you have Cam, who's in the river as well, who is going to try and make a play if that's the case. But instead, I actually think Dedication is going to make a play bot side.
Yeah, the unfortunate timing of the Kindred mark going to the bottom scuttle instead of the top scuttle means that, unfortunately, because he started bottom side, he lost the 50-50, so he ends up losing the first mark of the game to Graves. Yep. They do trade camps evenly, though. We do see the Gromp going down over to Dedication, who is definitely not going to tower dive level 3 as Graves. So he is going to go back to base, spend some hard-earned cash.
Yeah, we'll likely just buy that jungle item right away. We're going to see the Skirmisher Saber ready to go, and a longsword as well. So, early on already, Graves has one of the nicest early games too as a jungler. So we can imagine some of these ganks are going to be quite impactful. But as this next dragon comes up, you got to imagine that Mirror Mesa are going to try to set their sights there. However, they need bottom pressure if that's going to be the case.
Bottom side pressure is very longing here. We do see Kindred starting up the dragon, actually. Very curious at level 5. Does already have the Skirmisher Saber, does have the pushing bot lane, does have the pushing mid lane. So very similar to game 1 where he does have all of the lanes able to collapse on him before the enemy can. Which means they do get the first dragon of the game here at 5 minutes.
A really good start there from Cam, starting it on his own. Like you said, had the bot lane pushing in, so it works out for them very well. We're actually going to see some components come into play here for members of Sunny Hill. You got a pickaxe on that Corki as he's halfway to finishing the call. So Rated Dirk for Soon Chang, who we just have to imagine is going for yet another Umbral Glaive. This time around. So with that little bit of lethality already starting to hurt here if you're Chronosaurus. And I like they're slow pushing this lane here and manage to have it just ever so slightly on their side of the map here.
I do think it's interesting and a little unfortunate that there is no true tank on the Mirror Mesa side. When you look at this composition that has been put together by Sunny Hills, with the exception of Corki, it is all attack damage. And even Corki's still 50% attack damage. So, I mean, if they had had a true tank, they would have been very nicely put together had they been able to just build straight armor. Like, they could have picked Malphite top and been able to build full straight armor, and they would have been basically a raid boss. Not going to go down at all. Now, though, with, like I said, no true tank, it means that their itemization has to get a little interesting.
Yeah, you got to imagine some armor is going to get into the mix here, depending on who we're looking at on the board. We already know Ezreal is going to have it at some point with the Death Dance, so he's covered in that regard. For sure, Popeye is going to have it on the Alistar as well. So, we're going to see. It looks like we're seeing play.
Attempt of a gank in the top side. Not gonna get anything out of Barrack though. Too bouncy on the mini Gnar.
Yeah, but it looks like he's back for more.
Nice little quick draw over the wall from Dedication, trying to stay safe. Popeye's eating some auto attacks from the Thresh.
And it looks like you're also going to grab a plate here for Soon Chang and Javine. So not a bad start. The Virus has actually reached the level 6 now, so they could be looking for a trade.
Dedication going to go ahead and lose the blue buff, forced to flash away. Mega Gnar instantly stunned up, impacting Maelstrom coming through as well. Cam in the wings, but I don't know if it's the fight they want. They change up, and hey, yes it is. Cam's going to trade onto Dedication. Can they get anything more out of Cool Fan? But still a 1-for-1 and a blue buff in favor of Sunny Hills.
Yeah, definitely a good flash there from Cam. Didn't even have to commit the ultimate, it looks like, too. So it is going to be available. Not only that, Mark happens to jump onto Graves' Raptors, but looks like he's not going to go for it as he's very low HP from that previous fight there. And you look across the board again here. It just seems like it's pretty... Actually, no, it seems for the most part, Sunny Hills are ahead in every lane, with the exception of top lane, where Barrack is just a tad behind of Have a Cool Fan here. But overall, we see the Umbral Glaive already built up for Soon Chang. Ultimate is there as well. So now you got to start being careful if you're this Ezreal. But then here we go. He actually has built the tier of the Goddess and also another Sapphire Crystal as well. So he's really just focusing on the mana while he's on his way to his Miramana.
Yeah, looking to complete that Sheen first over the Manamune. Javine gonna get spotted out here by Dedication, but with the Dark Passage, gonna land the death sentence as well. No. Dedication going down for the second time already this game.
Yeah, Javina's been smurfing a little bit here on this Thresh. He's just been landing key hook after key hook. Even if he missed that first one, he actually managed to grab dedication on the second one. I don't even think he was expecting that either. So, now we actually have a fight here in the jungle.
Connect on the Popeyes. Click clocks in the middle of the team fight. Gonna stun everybody up. Here comes the Kindred ultimate to keep their own team alive. Another 1-for-1 in the top side. Support for top laner, though, not always that worth. But we'll have to see what Varus can do in that mid lane, if they are going to be able to get a plate or not. But the ping is onto the dragon. They don't care about the gold.
Fair enough. They are ahead in terms of gold here with Sunny Hills, about 1.6k gold lead. And it's interesting, too, that we see a Vampiric Scepter for Barrick. And I'm very curious as to what he's actually going to turn that into item-wise. Off the top of my head, just because it's very common for top laners, it'd be Blade of the Ruined King, which I don't think you see on Gnar too often.
Thanks to the recent changes to it, it has been the go-to item. Much like with Darius.
Even for Gnar.
Yeah, also Gnar, in his original split pushing style build, had the Blade of the Ruined King then too. Just because it's so good in a split push scenario. The ultimate's going to connect on to the face of Pop Eyes. Going to go down very quickly. Did not have the unbreakable will to get out. The hook was a little too big-brained. He thought that the arcane shift was going to come in quicker than it was.
Yeah, that would have... How nuts would that have been if he managed to get that down, though? But still, really good play there from Pop. He's really not respecting Sun Chang's ultimate there. Ends up getting rooted and kills. Not a whole lot that can be done about it. That's just going to be more plates in the pocket of this bot lane here for Sunny Hills. And now, Chronosaurus is forced even further from his tower, not even allowed to collect a little bit of experience. And that actually might be first tower of the game, especially with Cam just sitting there in the bottom side jungle.
They do have that Rift Herald in the middle, though. We're going to see if Dedication decide to use it, but it looks like they do want to try and defend this bottom tier 1 turret. Pings on to Kindred, but oh man, they really want that tower. It is so close. Cam's going to get the drop under Dedication. Does get nearsighted with the follow-up coming through. Dark Pass is going to keep him alive. Oh no, why'd you go back into it? Shutdown coming through from Click Clock. Dedication, though, gets another assistance from his mid laner. This Lissandra doing so much already. 3-0-1, making sure that nobody is getting away.
Yeah, it's a nice little bit of gold there for Click Clock. Even though down about 20 CS, the kills end up actually giving her a bit of a gold lead. Is actually, and that's great too, because that's enough to buy the Proto Belt, to buy the Sorcerer's Shoes. So that nice little bit of Magic Pen is going to do wonders as she buys the Cloth Armor, which one can only assume means she's going for that Zhonya's Hourglass. Yet again, if we look on the other side, Muramana actually built by Jenny. Still waiting to see it from Chronosaurus, who has the pickaxe and the tier. But either way, we have the jungle items complete as well here. And now we're starting to get into some power spikes on certain characters here. Havakul is also really close to a proto belt of his own. Actually, might be close to dying here as well.
Gonna be forced to flash away. Mega Gnar comes out with the wallop. But now that the first trick's been secured in the bottom side, I have to imagine that we do see a rotation once again akin to game 1. But we do see Varus moving to the mid lane, probably going to look to break that tier 1 down.
Yeah, that is what's nice about having your bot lane pretty much rotate around the map. They are the best at taking down turrets, so we're going to see that lane swap come out here as, well, Chronosaurus needs to farm a little bit more just to try and keep himself relevant. Has finally completed Muramana, but is about 45 CS down compared to Sun Chang, who has who's built Caulfield's Warhammer, another serrated Dirk. So you got to imagine he's going for Yomu's Ghostblade, where he's just going to have that much more lethality, that much more damage. And this is starting to get tough here for the side of Mira Mesa. Even though only 4k down, they are even in kills. So they are coming out pretty even in a lot of these trades, which is important.
This is the typical. Excuse me. This is a very solid team composition for Lethality Varus to play into. However, not a lot of armor, lots of very squishy targets. You know,
True.
doesn't have any healing to outlast his poke. If he can land a bunch of arrows, then it means that that's the health bar they are going to stay with. We do see the end of the line come through. Excuse me, collateral damage. End of the line is Q. Not able to secure the red buff, though, and we can see Dedication already 2 levels down his direct jungle opponent in Cam, which is going to start mattering once these dragons start spawning again.
That's right. So hard to go 50-50 when the enemy jungler has that much of a better smite compared to you.
And this is what we were talking about in the top side. Mega Gnar not going to have too much to fight with Coolfan. We do get the Herald popped on the top side too. Conqueror gets procced, but there is really not much left to be done here. If you keep... all right, maybe.
Wait.
Is this the comeback? Don't call it a comeback, they say. Is going to be able to double bounce out. Flashes away. Does just barely need to survive, but oh no, there's a cow! Face of Popeyes ran all the way up to secure the takedown. It is traded for an Infernal Drake, however, which does give Soul Point over to Sunny Hills.
Still, at least they get the top tower tier 1, and it looks like Herald's going to get a charge onto the second one before going off to the wayside. So it's not the worst trade, but as you say, Doc, Soul Point, and it's Infernal Soul 2. That's going to be pretty tough for Miramessa to have to deal with now, because now on top of the Baron, they have to contest every dragon going forward here. And across the board, it just seems like the struggle bus here for Miramessa. Everybody's building armor, because like you said, you got to be able to combat a Lethality Varus somehow. But it is going to be tough. Yeah, like all over the place. Like Lissandra, it makes sense. He has to build Seeker's Arm Guard anyway, so...
But like you said, it is the only way to survive. Soul Point is really tough though, because it is an Infernal Soul, which does give a huge boost to the damage output if collected. You know, every landed ability, landed auto attack explodes, dealing bonus damage. And so adding burst to this composition would be really impactful. We do see a flash come through. Cam forced below the ultimate. Chains of Corruption not going to connect onto anybody. Dark Passage coming in clutch though. Javine once again showing up on the Thresh.
And if not for that Dark Passage, it would have been lights out there for Cam. Really good play again from Javine, who's just been doing a great job, not just as Thresh, but as a support in general. You can see how involved he's been in all of these team fights, how he always roams at the right time for all his side laners as well. And it's just, you can see the impact of that in these matches, these matchups that they're winning here. That's going to be Herald 2, over to Dedication. So it's going to be another Rift Herald here for Miramessa. Hopefully they can make a play to get deeper on the other side of the map.
I would like to see them spend it mid, possibly. Even though they have to fight through the Varus wave clear, he just went back to base. They can just run forward and pop it. I definitely would have popped it by now. But we do see the attempt being made there to take down that mid-tier 1 to open up that potential roaming spot and, you know, a little bit more map control around the dragon.
It definitely would be the play. I agree with you there, Doc, but guess they weren't sure whether or not Sun Chang actually backed or was hanging around somewhere. Didn't want to risk it, and it looks like now they're going to make a play just to start getting some deep wards there into the bottom side jungle of Miramessa, just to make it that much easier for them to take that Baron when it comes up soon. And it looks like we're going to see the Rift Herald come up from mid lane. Wait, what?
Once again, bit of an awkward summon, akin to game 1. It is unfortunately not gonna get a charge off. So the only thing they gain out of that Rift Herald was the 25 gold from picking it up originally. And we do have Baron in 20 seconds and Dragon in a minute and a half, and we're gonna have to see which the teams prioritize. If I'm Sunny Hills, I am beelining for that Dragon Pit.
Yeah, you gotta get it done. Honestly, you could burst dragon. You could burst dragon enough that you could make it back to 50-50 the Baron too. Because I don't see Mira Mesa getting it down too quickly there. But either way, it looks like they just want to continue the mid pressure they've had for the last little while here. Push the wave and just go for a reset. I actually think they want to try and bait and see if Sunny Hills are going to approach them. But everybody's resetting right now. Nobody's interested in doing any of that, so doesn't amount to much. Uh-oh.
This could be it, though. Oh, all right. Blade of the Rune King, though, coming in clutch, giving just enough movement differential to make it out.
Yeah, very fortunate. Now, we've got about 25 seconds till this next and potentially final Elemental Drake comes up here. And you can see with the vision set up across the map that Sunny Hills have a real good shot at it. You see, like, it's not even it's not a concern or priority at the moment for Mira Mesa. They focus their wards more so in their own jungle and around the topside jungle close to Baron, just because so many of these turrets have been destroyed by Sunny Hills. Unfortunately now, Infernal Drake is up. They don't have control over the pit, Doc. This might be Soul.
Things are looking a little tough, but the AD carry for Mira Mesa is up on that top side, does have the teleport available. True Shot Barrage is going to help out a little bit, does have a TP ward in the back, but the package coming on through. Red team secures the dragon. That is Infernal Soul going over to Sunny Hills, and the fight is on. There's a slicing Maelstrom into the middle of the pack, but Cam staying alive with use of the ultimate. Going to trade 1-for-1. It is Click Clock going shut down as well. And the teleport from Chronosaurus coming in super duper late. Cannot contest with that Infernal Soul and just explodes. And that could be a very crucial turning point here in what is potentially match point.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That is a crucial fight. At the end of the day, I don't think you even take that fight to begin with, especially once most of your team is dying. There isn't a whole lot left for Chronosaurus to do, and I think one piercing arrow took 75% of his health, or something insane like that. And now, this allows them to push even further, closer and closer to Mira Mesa's base, to get those deep wards into the jungle. Again, Javine has been so good with this. And they're going to make a play for Baron, if Javine doesn't die.
Yeah, I mean, super tanky already. Quick draw, just barely going to dodge out from the hook. But yeah, I mean, you have to imagine the Baron play is soon. With how much poke they can throw out between the Varus Corki combination, it's really tough to see a walking path for Mira Mesa right now.
It is definitely a tough situation to be in here. If we are looking across the board now, back in items, it's a 10k gold lead. You see everybody on the side of Sunny Hills working on 3 items deep. If you're Sun Chang, you already have 3 items built up. You have the Merc Treads. If you're Javine, you have a whole lot of magic resist with 2 null magic mantles and the Gargoyle Stoneplate, which he's just so tanky right now. It's going to be really tough to contest this Baron if you can't kill that Thresh, if you can't stop him from basically pulling you into his team as well. You look on the other side, we got 2 items built. Depends who you look at, though. Have a Cool Fan does, Click Clock does. Both have Proto Belt and Hourglass Zonias. But that isn't enough to win these team fights here, just because Sun Chang is doing a lot of damage right now.
Yeah, not enough armor just yet. We do see the Glacial Shroud as well onto the Chronosaurus Ezreal, which means that we will be expecting a Iceborne Gauntlet. We do see pings onto the Baron. All 3 AD carriers making their way over. Gnar pushing into the bottom lane, going to be drawing some attention. And we can see the bot lane from Mira Mesa backing now, not even checking the Baron pit. So this should be a free Baron over to Sunny Hills. And there it is. Infernal Soul and Baron now completed.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. They're clearing Dedication's jungle as well on the top side, and they're just going to start basically just being a bit of completionists here. They're going to go for that top side tier 2. but we're getting pings to go into the mid lane as well. So it looks like they want to fight on multiple fronts here and try to at least get an inhibitor somewhere. I gotta imagine top or mid is going to be the goal here. However, we do have Barrick, who's still split pushing there on the bottom side too.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for them to try and back off just yet. Everybody's full health, full mana. You know, they're able to just put out buku damage. Like, look at that. Holy moly. Face of Popeyes gonna be forced all the way back. True Shot Barrage not enough to clear the Baron-empowered minion waves. So this is gonna be the mid lane inhibitor going down. I imagine they rotate top, force the Lissandra off. That seems to be the game plan. Second inhibitor tower gonna be going down as well. Big flash engage coming out of Face of Popeyes, though. Can he get any team help, though? Change of Corruption goes out. So does the Frozen Tomb. Cam pops the ultimate, keeping everybody alive, but health bars are so low on Mirror Mesa. Javine's going to pick up one. Have a nice day. Gonna go down. They trade 1-for-1. That team fight is disintegrating. However, dedication going down. Team-wide ace in favor of Sunny Hills, and they are going to be moving on here in your California Cup semi-final match to find themselves up against the BMHS Knights in the grand finals.
In such a convincing fashion, too. Sunny Hills win 2-0. First game win with 20 kills up. Second game with 7, but still, as what's an insurmountable gold lead in their favor, too. It just seems like just outplayed at every front if you're Mirror Mesa.
Yeah, I mean, super strong gameplay there, super strong champion picks as well. The macro play really coming in clutch, though, making sure that they were on point for every single dragon take, making sure they were there for every big Baron fight as well. Just really being able to secure, you know, map-wide objectives.
Yeah, that's right. And then again, like a common theme among winning teams, usually, even in the previous best of 3 you and I covered, when you win, when somebody takes something from you, it can't ever be for free. Somebody, if they commit to an all-in on the top side, like 4 people all move up top side, cool. I'm gonna take your mid turret now, or I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take your camps, farm, buffs, whatever. Nothing should ever be given for free, and that was the case here. Sunny Hills never gave up an inch unless they took a mile of their own.
Yeah, I mean, being able to consistently get something out of it is a mark of a great team. You know, a lot of times we do see engagements happen on off sides of the map, and then, you know, the bot side or opposite side just kind of farm it out. They're like, all right, yeah, we lost our top laner, but, you know, we weren't ready for that yet. We weren't expecting that yet. We weren't quick enough to respond to that. And so they are, you know, in a losing side then, whereas what we saw today was every single time a play was happening on the other side of the map, the other team was instantly clawing back something else. And even on both sides, it wasn't just, you know, Sunny Hills being able to take advantages. We were seeing Mirror Mesa come back strong and, you know, clutch out something. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. You know, that the Dragon and the Baron plays were really huge for Sunny Hills.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there, Doc. And it's tough too when you take unfavorable fights and it ends up in borderline team wipes. It's hard to come back from stuff like that because you're already a bit behind because of the laning phase. Now that's just more gold, more items in your enemy's pocket, and as a result of that, again, like League of Legends is that kind of game where you can snowball off scaling. Just you have more gold, you have more money, you're going to be stronger than them in pretty much every scenario.
Yeah, and a very key distinction I've been noticing across all of our play versus matches that we've covered in the previous weeks is that not a lot of teams give you the opportunity to scale. You know, you can pick like the Kaistas, the Vaynes, you know, the Vayne tops and things like that. But the Ultimate team isn't just going to let you farm. You know, it's not Stardew Valley. You don't just try to last out until you have, you know, full-grown farm ahead of you. You need to fight for every inch. And so we're seeing, you know, these scaling picks, like even Ezreal being combated by something super quick like a Varus or a Misfortune. And so you're not given the opportunity to get to that power spike moment.
Yeah, it is a little rough, especially with the current popular Ezreal build. It is really hard to get him online when it's quite the opposite here with Varus, lethality that is. Sure, it is lethality kind of falls off a bit, but he becomes so strong and hits those spikes much early than Ezreal does, and they obviously use that on Sunny Hills to push their advantages even further, and it's hard because League is a game of time in those cases when you talk about scaling, but those things can also be accelerated and decelerated by kills and deaths. And what ends up happening is that if you give away gold through takedowns, then you're decelerating your scale. Your Ezreal won't get those 3 key items he needs to really come online.
Yeah, and so you can see, they kind of got lucky there with the Dragon Roll. Being able to pick up the Infernal Soul was super clutch there.
Yeah.
We do have Coach Casey from Sunny Hill joining us here on the line. How you doing, Coach?
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing excellent.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, must feel good coming off of that first pretty strong win there for your team.
Yeah, it definitely is something that we have been prepping for a while. I've been playing a lot of normals, a lot of scrims outside of just playing. We also been playing in other tournaments, so my team is super warmed up and super ready to play.
Yeah.
So playing all these matches, though, you say warmed up. Is there a break point, though, where they're either too warm or it becomes just such a long day? I know that this series was fairly quick, but there's still a lot more League to be played today.
Yeah, for sure. So player burnout is a very common thing in the pro scene and the amateur scene. It's something you have to always be mindful of. And, and most of these, students are just that. They're students. They're young. They're not sure, how far they can push themselves. And you have to be, careful and considerate, while you're trying to balance your life and gaming and competitive esports, things like that. I think most of them are just really excited to play. They love the broadcast. They think it looks awesome. They're just so excited. They're so jittery that it's hard to get them to quiet down when you're trying to talk about the draft. I think that more than anything, they just want to keep playing. And this is some of them. It's their dreams to go pro, and most of them just love playing the game.
Sure.
That's why they're here. So, too much of anything is bad though. But
Yeah, for sure. But it's nice that they're excited. So then, since we're still talking about stamina, how do you support your players through this kind of stuff? Get them through really long days. How do you keep them focused? Because you talked about how sometimes they get overexcited.
Yeah, so I think the big thing is I'm always an advocate of having a bottle of water or a glass of water near you. Have a healthy snack. Most of my kids like eating junk food just like everyone else. So I have to keep reminding the students, hey, no Oreos at 9 a.m. No, don't get the chocolate cake off the counter. Just wait for later. And we had this morning, one of my kids is just like, oh, I've got what is it called? Cookies and cream Pocky. And I'm like, that's not. I get an orange, an apple, something else, please. Yeah. And he just laughs as he opens the pack. So it's it's one of those situations. But they're a great group of kids. Besides that, I have kind of a coaching habit where I always want my players in between games to wash their hands, especially during the current crisis, with COVID and whatnot. And then I always have them wash their face. So it's just it kind of resets you. It feels nice when you have cold water splashed up against you, and it kind of resets your mental for the next step. So that's my own little tradition, I would say.
That's an interesting take. I've never actually heard of that one before. I'll have to see if that works in our solo queue games.
There you go.
So now,
it works. You stand up, you get some movement. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I'll have to think about that. And I know you mentioned the current pandemic that we're running through with COVID and everything. You guys aren't able to practice and play and scrim together. Are you finding it a little bit tougher on the players to get everything done on time?
Well, I think the issue is just the fact that now that you're home, you have distractions, right? So if you think about anything, it's family's not a distraction, so to say, but it is kind of when you're taken out of your focus zone, right? You're not able to, deliver your best self because you got background noise. Your mom's coming in saying, "Hey, I got laundry for you," or "Hey, come take out the trash." So it's one of those things where it's it kind of takes you in and out of the practice mode. Not that it's a detriment, but it's something that you have to keep in mind, and you have to remind the kids that you need to take this as serious as if you were in a room together. Because I think there's a different level of execution when you're together. It's so much, you're just focused on task at hand. When you're separated, you have like, distractions. You can jump on Facebook, Twitter, go to Reddit, or just open up another game. There's all kinds of things when I'm not there physically with them, or they're not there together to keep each other focused on the task at hand, right? So, but I mean, I think overall, because it's gaming, it's so unique and cool that even during such a terrible situation that we're currently in, they're able to do their hobby, do their passion, and it's not really that interrupted compared to other traditional sports. And I think that's an awesome thing.
Yeah, honestly, that's great. And then I guess last question for me, this one's about you, Casey. Do you see yourself coaching beyond like the high school collegiate level? Is this something you considered going pro in yourself?
Yeah, so I did try multiple times with a couple amateur teams in the Challenger circuit back in 2016. I tried to help out Team Gates a little bit back in the day. I used to be a broadcaster on Team 2G. I was in their boot camp to try and make it as a streamer way back in 2015, 2014, so long ago. And from then I've just been coaching, and I love working with kids because as myself, when I was a kid, I was kind of the gamer, right? I didn't really have a huge friend circle, and it was like kind of like my way to escape. And I always want to just try and give back and try and help people that are in that same situation. And I think students in high school specifically really need like guidance and someone to look up to. And when no one around you above your age level really plays games and can relate to you, I think it's really important to have somebody that shares that interest and shares that hobby, trying to like show you this is something that you can do and make a career out of it, right? Not just playing the game. You can do all kinds of things, content creation, you guys, casting. There's all kinds of opportunities for these students to take advantage of. That's not just playing video games, right? And that's kind of how the climate is, and it's changing slowly, right? But most people just see it as playing games. So you got to kind of break the mold and break that. Yeah.
Which thankfully, that's why we're here today with the PlayVS staff, being able to put on this broadcast like this to help legitimize some of the events going on in the world across esports. And so my final question to you is, as you're now heading into your grand finals, how are you prepping the players?
So for the most part, we've spent the past week or so hard grinding on separate accounts as well as their main accounts to try and get all the champions that are currently being played to the highest level. LPL just started. We're taking some inspiration from that for the drafting. We're looking at obviously what the enemy opponents are playing, because most people, especially in high school, aren't playing like the super meta stuff. They have their own, their flavor picks, their niche picks, which can actually be a problem. But I think it's very clear right now. The meta is really, really flexible. It's not just how it has been in the past, where there's like one or two champions in every role you can kind of see as that's the thing you have to play. There's a lot of opportunity to expand out and play a lot of these niche things that people don't know about. And I think that it's just something you have to kind of roll with the punches and see what's going on and change, your game plan and your approach to the game when you see these things come out.
Awesome. Thank you once again for joining us here. Congratulations on your win,
Thank
on
you.
your victory, and good luck in grand finals.
Okay, appreciate it. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
All right, Beatdown. That was our second semifinal match of the day. What a barn burner.
Yeah, it really was. And honestly, it was still very exciting in its own way too. And again, it was really nice to have Coach Casey come on, talk a little about his team, his philosophy and coaching as well. It's always nice to know what's going on behind the scenes with these teams.
Yeah, and so as we are going to head into a break, I definitely want to give a shout out to our sponsor, HyperX. Do not miss the launch of the HyperX Showdown this coming Tuesday, June 9th. Join HyperX in a hilarious and exciting clash of celebrities, including professional athletes, DJs, influencers, and stars from across the entertainment industry as they battle it out with their gaming skills. Catch the action starting this Tuesday, once again, June 9th. So set your clocks, set your calendars, set your sundials on the HyperX Twitch channel, twitch.tv/HyperX. We'll see you there. And so that does it for us here, folks. We do still have more League of Legends action for you today on the PlayVS channel, but we will be having a new, refreshed set of casters. So do you have any final words for us today, Beatdown?
Not at all. Just really excited to still watch from basically in my chair just to see how these finals are going to play out.
Yep. And so we do hope that you bear with us, folks, and stick with us as we, like I said, continue to bring you some of the best action in high collegiate esports with the culmination of our California Cup here in conjunction with the CIF Esports Initiative. I am the Doctor, and we will see you guys in just a bit.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
Overwhelmingly, the support has been there with, man, I wish that had been available when I was in high school. I guess it was last fall, some of the students were starting to go, hey, can we get a gaming club going? And then word came down that our athletic director was looking for someone to coach esports. And I said, this is something that's right up my alley. You know, I've always been in tune with the geek kids, you know, the geeks, the nerds, whatever. That's my scene. That's what I was in high school. I mean, I've done it all. I've done computer-based stuff. I played World of Warcraft for about 10 years. 360s in the house right now. The main thing that I did to help find interested students is I told all of my classes, if you have friends who are interested, please send them this way, that anybody can join. I'm not gonna limit this. For our first season playing, we have come in at approximately 23 kids. I've got one full League of Legends team. I've got 3 Rocket League teams. That's where we started at, and I'm looking forward to it growing. To get started in this, it was let me learn about the games that are out there. Let me see what I need to figure out, and then I figured out that the kids are gonna know more than I ever will. The opportunity for any kid to be skilled at something and be able to have the chance to pass that knowledge on, to look at somebody else and go, hey, I realize I'm not gonna be here for more than a couple of years, and we want this team to keep doing well. Let's get your skill up so that you can take my spot. Absolutely, that's part of giving the kids that bit of ownership in the sport. This is the first time we've done this at our school. How much of a legacy do you want to leave? Do you want to be the guy that's helping bring the next generation here at the school along, or are you going to be the one who's like, no, I'm the best and I don't want anybody else to challenge me? When I've got my lead for League of Legends going, okay, we're invading here, I'm marking the point, everybody get here, they're learning how to really work together and develop their skills that they're going to be able to use the rest of their lives. Here's your place where you can come in and be part of a team. Esports gives that kid who is a gamer that chance to be involved in the school and maybe help them develop more school pride than what they've had. They can say, hey, I was part of this. And that they now have the opportunity to letter in it gives them a reason to go out and say, hey, you know, maybe I do want to buy that Letterman's jacket. Maybe I do want to build some memories about high school that will last and be worthwhile. Ultimately, being a coach is opening doors for students to find their way to belong in a school that they don't have through any other means. So let's grow it. Let's make the school a more welcoming place for everybody.
One of the greatest things is getting an email about how excited a parent is that their student is involved and is having a great time and wants to talk about their esports experience. I've always been a gamer. I usually wanted to play the single-player role-playing games and the WoW and StarCraft. I didn't really know a lot about esports. I didn't realize the extent of how large it was. Our athletic director walked into my office. He's like, just watch this video. It was a promo reel that said, esports is coming or something, games to be announced, and it was this hype video. And I was like, we have to do this. He's like, I don't have a coach. I was like, oh, when do we start? How do we do this? I would say that I'm actually stepping into the students' field. This was especially the case in season 0 and 1 with the seniors who had been playing for years. I was there to coach in the sense of be an organizer, be an encourager, be there to try and instill the elements of sportsmanship and athletic conduct. But I know and recognize that some of these players know more about these sports than I do. And I can let them be teachers as well to the new kids. And so having that relationship, that partnership with those students has been really important. It's been really exciting to be on the beginning of this program to say, let's see what happens and see where it goes and learn along the way and have an outlet for students who have many, many different interests, but maybe this one aspect of what they love doing hasn't really been given an outlet yet. And to say, we know you love all these other sports, but you're also really talented at this, or you want to be talented at this, and you can. And there's an avenue for that. The reception from parents has been fun in its own right. Parents say esports, like, what is this, video gaming? And the answer is, yeah, it is. That's the entry point. But I'd love for you to come to practice or check out some of these videos and these stats and let me show you the difference that we're trying to create here. When a parent comes and sees a game, specifically like League of Legends, from start to finish and goes, I had no idea that that's the level of intensity and the level of dedication that it takes to play one game and the endurance that it takes to do this and to communicate as a team. Like, I had no idea. Seeing that reception and that flip is really exciting, because then they're all in. It's been interesting to see the elements of other traditional sports, communication skills, sportsmanship, conduct, planning, strategy, skill, and mental athleticism. All of these things feed into creating an esports program and creating students into athletes. It's just been really fun to watch them progress really, really fast by having that team dynamic to fall upon.